Hello, my name is C.S. Williams, the radio apprentice, and you're listening to Netting Radio Heartbeat Podcast. I'm just on the other side of words. That means I basically don't have any written form of intro to this podcast. And this podcast is solely based on my instincts. So please don't get it wrong based on what you listen to right now. I basically have my own term for friendship, and I have my own term for belonging. Because I don't have too many avenues to make new friends like I should. But then it's something that you get to learn over time, especially if you did not start from the beginning. I grew up being on my own, basically. And yes, along the line, if I ever became your friend or you ever became my friend, we tend to be very close. Why? Because you have probably gone through a whole lot to be my friend, and I have gone through a whole lot to see something through you that's making you my friend. So it's vice versa, because I don't see myself as worthy. The same way I tend to filter who is worthy enough to merit my presence. So you see, it's a two-way sword. Whichever way you swing it, it's going to cut. Now, that is the reason why I basically want to tie my instincts around definitions all the time. And when you come around, I always want to define your presence. And I want you also to let me understand my presence. As time goes on, I have realized that, okay, based on what you do or based on how exposed you want to be, sometimes you have to reclassify people and class them in the places where you want them to be. And that's the reason why I would also impute this right now in this talk. I tend to have people I call friends. I tend to have people I call family. And truth about the matter is that I just have a few friends and I have more family. Because if you're my friend, it takes a longer distance for me to take you more seriously than I would take someone whom I call family. I think that's a problem because I probably have called the wrong people family. And I have taken the wrong people as family for quite a while, and it's cost me harm and it's cost me good. Now, I'm not saying that everyone's presence ought to be reevaluated because of the experiences of before, of which, of course, everyone is entitled to learn. Everyone's entitled to a new experience, and everyone's entitled to teach other people, how they have learned, basically in the hard way, because it's only the hard way that tells a better story, that tells a more interesting story. Okay? So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to make sure that my definition of belonging is so exquisite that we tend to understand my presence and I tend to understand your impact. You have to pay attention to it properly because now I'm talking about value and I am talking about the interactive basics of being friends and how I class it before you become family. I'm basically easy to talk to, and I can very much be a good listener, especially if there's something you want me to add to it or if you just want me to listen to you. Vice versa, I also like to be listened to. Growing up, the only people who get to hear anything about me, especially when I'm ready to talk, is my immediate family. But then you and I know that as time goes on, there are certain things you can no longer share that easily with family. You want to talk to a friend. So who is the friend you talk to? The only friend you can talk to is the only friend that you filtered enough to be family. Now, if you're not talking to your immediate family, you're talking to your friend made family. So that's why I see it as a big deal, and I tend to see that aspect as a very important aspect. And that's the reason why I tend to appreciate that figure when I get it. Because it's not very easy to come up with someone who can easily fill that gap without leaving something behind. It's not very easy to share your shortcomings. It's not very easy to share your problems. It's not very easy to seek for solutions because you need someone who is good enough to tell you what to do. You need someone who is good enough to suggest for you the best way to solve a problem. You need someone who pays attention carefully And you also need someone who is able to read you enough to know exactly what you need and what you don't need. But I will also tell you that those attributes also come with a lot of things. Sometimes you don't get everything, and most of the time, you don't even get it all. I've had friends, I've had people I called family that went wrong, and if I tell you exactly how it went wrong, you will be able to filter the one you're doing right now. Everything that looks flashy isn't flashy enough. Because they smile at you, because they laugh with you, because they come to hang around you, because they make you do extraordinary things, doesn't make them family. We've all made those kind of mistakes. It takes something deeper. Just because they pick interest in what you were trying to do, maybe you voice a business idea and they're like, wow, it's awesome, it's good, and they act like they're talking to you. Apparently, because there's something that you're giving out in return. No one sticks with you unless there's something you're giving out in return. And if for any reason you ease out on that thing you're giving out in return, trust me, you won't get that attention you've been getting before. It's so easy. It's very easy to figure it out. And if they're still talking to you and hanging around you and still trying to be all those people or that person that you know, it's because they're still seeing something. Maybe potential. Yeah, potential, I guess. But hope it doesn't break out. So, really, to an extent, I have been disappointed. And of course, anybody can say the same. If you should allow them say it vice versa, they would say the same. Apparently, there's something that they would have been expecting of me that I didn't do. But I'm talking from my own point of view right now. I'm talking to you how it affects me, and you know how it affects you, and you know how you can filter it. When you come in pursuit, the goal is always different. What I see as the goal is different from what you see as the goal. Or what you want to achieve by having a friend-turn family is different from what I want to achieve by having a friend-turn family. And it's also different from what I want to gain by keeping a friend as a friend and bringing someone in as a family. To be more specific, okay? Try to set goals. When you set goals, these things come out on their own. Yes, we can play, all right? We can play. It doesn't matter. I'll walk, no play. You know the rest. But then, I feel like in all of this, someone should always have a time to pair understandings and to pair reasoning and to pair ideas and make something great and build values despite anything underground. And that's my basis. So when I class you beyond where I'm supposed to and we're unable to merge ideas to build values somewhere, it becomes difficult for me to take a step down. Sometimes I would accept the fall, okay? And everything ends. That's how I operate. That's how I deal with things. It might be very hard, it might be very tedious, but I just can't help it most of the time because I tend to be very disappointed because I understand how much I commit when you go beyond being my friend and you become family. And something else that ruins everything is not being able to define things, like I said from the beginning. That way, you can also differentiate the play from the seriousness in between. And that also helps a lot. That helps a lot. That really helps a lot. And that helps you figure out who is worthy to hang around for longer and who is not. You don't need to waste your time with you don't need to waste your time like I have wasted my time with certain people. Probably they can say the same for themselves, no problem. But that helps a whole lot. That helps a whole lot to build a different table for a different meeting. My name is C.S. Williams, the Radio Apprentice, and this is Netting Radio Heartbeat Podcast. Stay tuned.